Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the big show, the Big Three DFS Show. Little divisional round action for you people. 4 games breakdown going on this weekend.
Playoffs.
Winners of these games going to get themselves a spot in the AFC or the NFC Championship game. As always, joined by the money man, Adam Wagner, and the man from the bottom of the Mason-Dixon line, Christopher Sweet. Gentlemen, what are we looking for this week in these games? Are we looking for highly contested contests or just some ass kickings all over the joint?
I don't know. Well, the wild card was nothing but a shock and surprise for a lot of people, except for Al Walsh, who knew the Kansas City Chiefs were just going to go in there and dominate the Houston Texans. But for me, I think it's going to be neck and neck. I think between the Pittsburgh and Denver game is the one I'm looking forward to. I just think these two teams. I think Pittsburgh's lack of defense will kind of be nullified with the lack of ability to attack with Peyton Manning. So I don't know. I think stuff will be neutralized. I think you're going to see a seesaw battle. Could be heavyweight fights, just like the old heavyweight boxing of old back in the '80s, man. With Larry Holmes, with Larry Holmes of the day, my friend.
I'm gonna say, sure as hell, not the new age of boxing.
No,
that shit
they can't keep rounds.
I'm looking for the upset that no one sees coming because it seems like you always get one this round just about every year.
Yeah,
so I'm looking for a high seeded home team to take a loss no one's expecting this week.
Well, I think I don't know which one's going to be going to be unexpected. I think the teams that are in a position to do that is obviously Pittsburgh, coming in at the 6, knocking off the 1. That's pretty feasible if you ask me, considering the fact that Antonio Brown just scorched this Denver defense a couple of weeks ago. However, we had a different Ben Roethlisberger, one that's not going to be shot up on a million cc's of cortisone, so to speak.
That lucky son of a bitch.
I'm telling, right?
We could just get into the games since I think we all have a lot to talk about each of the games.
I'm sorry. You got somewhere to be, Sweet? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We don't want to cut in your social schedule.
No, definitely not. Or if you gentlemen wanted to touch on the coaching changes or maybe some teams that are changing cities.
No, I don't want to talk about coaching changes. I'm still butthurt that Coughlin left. Well, talk about coaching changes.
He's not going to Philly, at least.
That was a hoax.
Yeah,
that was a hoax to keep McAdoo from looking at Philly.
I didn't believe that for 1 minute, but congrats to new Bucs head coach Dirk Cutter. Got to keep the talent in house. So he did a great job with Jameis. Now I actually got a little bit of inside info from Twitter last night. There was a picture of Dirk Cutter at the DMV down in Tampa yesterday getting new Bucs license plates. So that kind of the writing was on the wall there. After you saw that, you were like, all right.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
You better hope it doesn't fall through like George O'Leary or something.
Hey-o. So I was at the dentist's office today, and I was at the dentist.
Going to the dentist lately.
I wasn't at the dentist. Well, yeah, I know. I got some fucked up chompers going. I got a lot of cavities I gotta get fixed. They basically told me, get your cavities fixed or you're gonna die, boy. And I was like, I don't want to die.
But sometimes, man, I don't think you really have the cavities. I think they're just looking to get some work done, man. You gotta
get that money.
That's what I'm saying. My mouth didn't hurt until I went to see the dentist. That's all I'm saying, man.
Yeah, I had some oral surgery last week. I got the dentist going, but I ain't going back until February, so they can all go fuck themselves. But so it was interesting. So I'm in the dentist chair, and I'm listening to Adam Schefter, and he's like, oh, I don't know what the big delay is, why the Bucs haven't named the coach. Well, Dirk had to get his license plates, dude. Like, let a man get his mobile plates.
Chill out, Shefty.
Jeez, man.
Not everybody has somebody stand in line at the DMV for him, Shefty.
Damn, man. And, Cutter had the Bucs director of security with him in the photo. It was a lot of stuff that was going on there. All right, I got the Bayonne iced tea in the mix. It's ready to roll. Let's break down these 4 games. Yeah. All right, so First game of the week that we got here, KC traveling up to Foxborough. Patriots, they got a ton of drama going on around this team right now. Gronkowski unexplainably missed practice 2 of the last 3 days. Chandler Jones, his incident, basically showing up at the police station without a shirt on. I remember the last time I did that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so over under 42 here. Money line on the win. This is interesting. So the Patriots here in the playoffs at home, only a 230 favorite on the money line here. A little telling. And I don't think the bettors are fooled this week. Right down the middle in terms of who's betting what on the spread. So, in terms of a fantasy game, I'm looking at a couple different things here. I know some people like Chiefs defense. I think that's freaking crazy. But
Yeah.
is there a possibility of an upset in Foxborough on Saturday afternoon? Well, early evening.
I don't think so. I'm just gonna go ahead and say no. Somehow, some way, Brady finds a way to make it so. With Edelman coming back this week, Gronk. The Patriots way just seems to have that motto of do your job, get your job done, regardless of what types of jackassery you have going on outside of camp during the week. Come time to play, Belichick makes sure that he polices it up and cleans it up. So come game time, I don't think it's going to be any type of doubters out there about Gronkowski's type of play. I think they're all going to show up, and I think the offense is going to be looking good, man. I just it's been looking daunting of late here, and I don't think Belichick's going to take any risk here. I think it's going to be full guns, all guns pumping, and look for that Brady offense to come out firing, man. I don't think you're going to see the upset, man.
All right.
I don't see it.
I'll give my opinions after Sweet goes. Sweet.
Well, are we gonna pick games like we did last week? Cause
yeah.
I mean, we could do that on Saturday or so.
I think this is the only show we're doing, buddy.
Okay. I mean, I guess it is going to be the only show we're doing. We're not going to do a Saturday show.
Has this social schedule that nothing can be interfered with here.
Sorry, Chris.
I have a family, damn it.
So do I. They're right there.
Yeah, I don't. I could do a show like Saturday at like 8 in the morning if you want to. All right.
I like Julian Edelman in this game because they've been without him for a while. I think Tom's been missing him a lot. I don't really like Tom Brady just because of the price, and he hasn't had a 20-point game on DraftKings since the Philadelphia game, which they were down in and were just throwing. You don't like the stuff with Gronk. On the other side of the ball, I like fake Gronk, Travis Kelce at 5,100. And I like Spencer Ware in this game. I think if they're going to get the lead, that's the type of guy they're going to have to lean on to really pound down the Patriots' defense. So those are some of the plays I like. But, I mean, this game from a fantasy perspective is not really appealing to me.
Yeah, for me, I'm basically going to say that this game is going to be close. The 4.5-point spread, I think a lot of people look at that and say, oh, man, New England, definitely, my friends with the local bookie in Hoboken down there at South's Tavern or whatever, those kind of guys will be on the Patriots. But I think the smart money here would be to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I do think that they will make this a close game, but I do think the Patriots will win. You're right. They will find somehow, some way. This is the Patriots. Edelman, only major play that I got from this game, but you know me, I like to be a Jew with the running back position, and hey, whatever, it's 2016. We can make these culture great jokes, So
I think it's going the other way.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it, but I like to be cheap at running back, so James White's the guy that I'm going to go with for New England. I think he can catch some passes. I don't think that they're going to be able to run the ball effectively against KC. So James White, just on that PPR type deal, we really didn't have a good, I don't want to say a good PPR back, but anybody that we really looked at going into the week like, all right, this running back's going to catch a lot of balls this week. I think White We're going to see maybe Jonathan Stewart can catch a couple. I mean, he's not typically a PPR guy, but I think against Seattle, he's going to have to be.
He's going to have to, yeah.
So, yeah, James White, I think, could be one of your really low-priced running backs. And I know it's going to be tempting to do it, to go with the Patriots defense. Yeah, they're going to hold them. They're probably going to hold the Chiefs to a low amount of points, but you're not going to get turnovers off this bunch with Casey.
No, not at all. But one thing that the New England Patriots does well, besides, I mean, both these teams are kind of, similar. Kansas City, real quick, their pass defense allows 224, yards, passing yards per game. New England, just a little bit above that, 16 yards above that at 240 yards per game. However, New England has some very versatile linebackers, and that's what really is alarming for the Kelsey play. The Kelsey play could be a little bit. Well, I mean, he's obviously, if he's the next tier down besides third leg. So you got Gronk, you got third leg, and then you got the Kelsey group. So I don't know. It's going to be rough for that matchup with Kelsey here. I just think that the play that could surprise everybody is Alex Smith. Like I said, the guy, he makes pretty good decisions. He looked great. He looked very impressive against the Texans defense. The Texans were rolling shutout. I mean, pitching. I think they had a 35-0 shutout 2 weeks before they even got into the league. I mean, they looked pretty impressive, and he just made them look like they were a bunch of high schoolers. It was. I mean, he had J.J. Watt coming in on offense.
Hey,
That was dumb.
Don't forget, too, I believe last year where Casey just beat the brakes off the Patriots on Monday Night Football. Granted, that game was in Kansas City. I believe that was last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
so,
it was.
Recent history, think about it. But, yeah. Now, final score predictions from the game.
Pretty low, man. I'd like to see I'd like to say 24-13 New England.
All right. Sweet.
I think you're going to see special teams, man.
Okay. All right.
What do you got, Al?
Oh, you're throwing it to me?
Yeah, he's playing prices right over here.
I'm going to
He's done a showcase showdown.
Something ridiculous. Maybe like 20-19 New England. A couple field goals in the mix here. I think that's what's going to get it. The over-under of 42, that's a weird number. It's not, it doesn't, give you like a 20-17 outlook. Or usually you'll see like a 40 or a 43, 45, something like that. But a 42 is weird. So I do think something like, or we might see a 23-20, but I'm gonna keep it there. New England 20-19.
Yeah, the 4.5 point spread, that's the Vegas zone, so that makes me think Vegas isn't 100% sure what to think out of this game. And ladies and gentlemen, it is my Big 3 show New Jersey Turnpike Glory Hole upset of the week. I'm going Kansas City 23, New England 20. I'm calling outright upset Kansas City.
Ballsy. I like that's how you kick it off.
My Cincinnati was going to come through last week, but Vontaze Burfict took that into his own hands. So.
Man, Jerry Porter got the game ball. I'm sorry, Jerry Porter. Jerry Porter got the game ball.
One of the Porters.
Jesus. Yeah, what a freaking meltdown. I mean, that's what he gets though. Like you don't run up the tunnel and.
He's a freaking idiot, man.
Oh man, he gotta get cut. You gotta cut him. All right. So now we're looking at
what did you guys think of the Hugh Jackson hire right across the way?
I like it. Yeah, he's.
I like that.
Huh?
Pretty standard guy. It's gonna work. Basically, obviously, I guess this states the end of the Manziel era. Hell, Dallas is ready for him, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look,
RG3, they got their pick.
Jared Goff is probably going to be the guy that the Browns draft, so they'll have a nice quarterback there to work with.
Arm.
But I was just taking a look at the quarterbacks that they drafted. Did you know the last 3 quarterbacks that they drafted? So I guess you got BQ, you got Manziel, and who's the other one?
Weeden.
All at 22. all with the 22nd pick, and then they had Tim Couch, who was the first overall pick. So,
Yeah.
And really, the only one with a strong arm that can throw the ball in the winds of Cleveland, pretty much, is Whedon, and he's
Yeah.
well, we know that story. But
Well-
yeah, that's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need a quarterback that can actually, that can drive the ball home through, through that weather there, man. And not many people can do it like Bernie Kosar. So.
well,
Do you guys remember the Myoplex Brady Quinn commercial?
I
Now
sure
I'm
do.
done.
Now I'm ready.
I
Now
think
I'm
I
done.
think I still have the poster behind my bedroom door.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, I
The
mean,
only
look,
thing Brady
Oh,
Quinn did
man.
good was lift weights.
Goff kind of
Made a
has.
few bucks for Myoplex.
He's got like a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers type body where he's big. He looks like he can see over the line well. But again, this is Cleveland. This isn't the easiest place to play QB. So
And let's not forget, Hugh Jackson went 8-8 with the Raiders and then was fired for having the best season of the last 13 years of any Raiders coach.
how dare you, Hugh? Yeah, he's he made that Bengals offense quite prolific. So I think
Yeah.
that's a great hire for them. All right, moving along. Next game on the docket. I believe this will be the biggest blowout of the entire week. Green Bay at the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals 7-point favorites here. We got ourselves an over/under of 45.5. Bet spread right down the pipe, 50-50. Yeah, just like I said, we had this matchup a couple weeks ago in the regular season, and I believe Arizona got out to the 30-0 lead, something dirty like that. I don't expect anything of this to change. Green Bay, they got lucky that they were able to face Washington last week. I don't think that this is that was the beginning of any sort of run for Aaron Rodgers. This is still a very flawed team in Green Bay, and Arizona with the week off, they even had the second half of the last week of the season that they got to rest as well. So I think they're going to be well rested in this one.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more, man. On paper, it says both these teams are kind of equal here, with the passing defenses allowing both 230 yards per game. That's hogwash. It's not even gonna, come close. I think this will be the blowout that you see. We're gonna see 3 legitimately close games, not this one so much. Carson Palmer's my quarterback of the week. I think this guy's got a great matchup going against that Green Bay defense. We looked to see how Cousins was able to expose the defense without Shields. We'll see if Shields is going to be a go this week as well. If not, you can expect the same, almost even more, maybe from an experienced quarterback like Carson Palmer to maybe rip up this Green Bay defense.
Sweet. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I got to echo what Wag said about Palmer. I think he's the top quarterback of the week for sure. I think that's the guy that is the easiest to put in your lineup. I also don't hate Aaron Rodgers. I think these might actually be the 2 best fantasy guys this week. I do think that Packers will be playing from behind. One guy I like on a GPP, real cheap option is Jared Abbrederis of the Packers, who should see a lot of work with Devontae Adams sitting out this one. He's doubtful. I don't expect him to play. You don't normally recover from that. I like David Johnson. I think he's going to be one of the top running backs. I think this week as well. There should be plenty of points in this game. I don't think it's going to be very close either. It kind of reminds me of when the Rams got on their hot run. I think they had a somewhat aging Brett Favre come in against Kurt Warner, and they just kind of got the doors blown off of him and just couldn't really hang. I kind of feel like this is going to be the same type of situation.
I'm
Pretty
glad that
Pretty
you brought
much.
that game up, because when that game took place, I was actually visiting a friend of mine up at Rutgers. So I was a senior that year in high school, and we played a game where you had to drink a beer for every touchdown. Like a pick six, you had to do something ridiculous. So needless to say, the girl I was dating at the time, I went back to her play and just made a complete ass of myself. Later on that night, I was in the bathroom throwing. It was a awful night, because the final score was 59-17 or something like
That's
that.
hilarious.
Oh man.
So
We played. I don't know if you guys have ever played. You say drinking games, man. Next time you guys get a little froggy, we'll all throw on the Big Lebowski. We'll make some White Russians, and every time they drop the F-bomb, we'll drink take a drink, man.
I thought you were gonna say when I say dude.
No, when it's dude. I mean, still the F version. You can look up the F version of the Big Lebowski on YouTube, and it's
I
like
know, man.
7 minutes. It's just nothing but variations of F fuck. So it's just
You
great.
can say fuck, it's YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to say. I'm not.
It's
But anyway,
2016. I said Jews, and we can say fuck.
But yeah, you bring up David Johnson, man. With Green Bay allowing, I think where you're going to see the differential in this game is going to be on the ground. Once Arizona gets up, they're going to put the ball in this guy's hands, man. He's just done great things in the past couple of weeks with it. He's a special ball player. We've seen this. He's probably going to be one of the steals of the year, for people that are playing keepers. I know you have him in a keeper league too, Chris. So, Green Bay allowing 117 yards on the ground. I mentioned that's going to be the differential, of this game. So, we'll see, man. It's just going to be like you said. Arizona's going to get up. They're going to manage the game. They're going to run the ball, and Green Bay is going to be trying to keep up. So,
I'm very glad you guys brought him up because he is actually my favorite play. I would say he is the one that you have to have in your roster the most this week. His $6,000 price tag on DraftKings is kind of laughable for what's about to take place in this game. Look, this is the game with the biggest spread on the slate, so I think that means that we're going to see a ton of Johnson. I know you guys really like Palmer, but I like the quarterbacks in the Sunday games more. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I like Johnson to produce more than Palmer. You know what I mean? So, I do think that we're going to see an ass kick, and I think we might even see an Arizona defensive touchdown. I don't think that's a terrible play. But yeah, David Johnson is the one guy that I absolutely have to have in my lineup this week. Again, that price point is it's too cheap, and the way that I see this game going, he might have an NFL playoff record by the time we're done. I'm not even kidding. This could be a good. This could be a great day.
If he has a 40-point game, I would not be surprised.
Absolutely not. And I think if you don't have Johnson in your lineups, you're not cashing this week. That's just plain and simple. The other thing
I'm grabbing my Johnson.
Oh yeah, I already got my Johnson. My Johnson's in there already. Shit, there's one other thing I wanted to bring up too. Must have been hella important. Yeah, I don't remember. If it comes back to me, I'll bring it up. But
you love James Jones this week.
I do not. I don't like any. Oh, that's what it was. Last week, watching the game in depth. I wasn't really drinking that much this weekend, so I got to watch the games at face value. Washington was able to chip away at the run a little bit there against Green Bay when the game was competitive. So, I think Arizona can exploit that a lot more than anybody else can. So yeah, David Johnson. I mean, the guy looks like Megatron as a running back. So
yeah, big boy.
Lock him up. What about some receivers in this game? I mean, I know you guys like Carson Palmer, so he's got to throw the ball to somebody.
Absolutely, and his receivers are priced cheap too. It's kind of laughable as well. Both, Michael Floyd and John Brown, I like a lot. John Brown priced at $5,200 on DraftKings. Michael Floyd just below that at $51. Both really good options. You mentioned that Palmer might not be the guy here. I still see Arians leaving this guy in until the win is secure. So maybe you could probably get 3 touchdowns, 3 scores from Palmer here. And these guys are definitely going to be the guys that can get him. You'll have Fitzgerald doing his thing. Fitzy's going to be doing his thing across the middle. And when they're in the red zone, look for Fitzgerald to be targeted, quite frequently. But however, from 20 to 20, I mean, these guys are just going to be chewing up the yards.
Yeah, I had a question for you guys.
Okay.
What do you guys think about a little GPP Andre Ellington play in this game, catching some passes out of the backfield?
No.
3,500.
I just don't like it. I don't think Arian's going to take any chances. He's going.
You just think David Johnson's going to have all the work he wants, right?
I think so. I don't think. I mean, they've had some time off to implement Ellington back into the system. I just think, I just think go with what got you there, man. I'm a firm believer. I'm an old school guy, Chris. You know that. And I'm not saying that I come from the same school of football philosophy.
I didn't know that you were an old school guy. What are you keeping secrets, man? What? Oh.
He's an old school fool with a new school something.
New school sound or something like that.
Here's my reason for not going with Ellington. On a 4-game slate, I think you need to absolutely have, the maximum that you could possibly get out of every single player, and obviously, those two guys would take away from each other. So that's the only reason. I mean,
just a question. That's all.
Okay. No, I mean, look, hey, hell, last weekend, Madame Toussaint going to town. So I don't know.
What do we think for predictions in this one, fellas?
All right, let me kick it off. I'm gonna go 45-21 Arizona.
Man, it's so close to what I was gonna say.
An absolute abomination coming from all directions. AZ, lock them up. Get them a suite for the NFC Championship game. It's going down, baby. And I'm not going to tell you if they're going to be at home or on the road, because then that'll ruin the mix.
All right, I'm going to go 41-25 Arizona.
All right.
42-28.
We got some of the weirdest scores of all. Like
Arizona.
You don't like field goals in that one, eh?
No.
All right.
I don't like Chandler Catanzaro on the FanDuel.
Oh boy, kickers! I'm done. I'm so done with them. All right, yeah. So across the board, Arizona unanimous. We know Vegas. We like what they like. Yeah, and again, back to the receivers and that. I mean, I guess John Brown. I mean, what do you do here? I guess for Green Bay, James Jones is going to be the guy that draws Patrick Peterson on the outside. Cobb's always in the middle. So
I heard he might shadow Cobb, but who knows?
It might not be a bad idea. But I don't really care. They're just going to get their hold blown out.
Jared Abbrederis, write it down, 3,000. That's the GPP guy.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. Maybe Rich Raj too.
Dick Rod, man, my fault.
All right.
Hey, our bad, Dick Rod. We should talk about you.
Nah, you're going to get your hold blown out this week, Rich Raj. Sorry, you're done.
It's not happening, buddy.
Favorite of the show. Favorite of the show. All right. This is where I think all the fantasy glory lies in this game. Down in North Carolina, the Seattle Seahawks traveling to the Carolina Panthers. 1-point favorites are the Panthers right now. They started off the week as 3-point favorites. I think they started off briefly as 3-point favorites. It was 2.5 most of the week, all the way down to 1 right now. And I think that's a very scary place for the Panthers to be. Over-under is 44. I think this total is ridiculous. It's unbelievably laughable. I can't stop laughing at it until now because I have to talk.
Well,
but
do you think they're just considering the defenses and just thinking that it's going to just be a defensive classic, early 1990s, NFC showdown that we used to normally see? I don't think so, man. It's going to be in good weather conditions.
Well, here's the deal. Let's kick off the analysis here. And by the way, 67% of the bets are on the Panthers here, so we're going Seattle's way. My top quarterback play this week, Russell Wilson. Look, here's the other thing too, and I think Cam Newton's a close second as well. And the thing that we can differentiate these two quarterbacks from anybody else on the slate is rushing touchdowns. DraftKings, obviously, you're going to get the 2 more points for the rushing touchdown. I think Russell Wilson can definitely get one of those. Cam always does, whether he's on the goal line or wherever the hell he is, he can get that. Everything about this line tells me that Seattle's going to win this game. They got the storyline on their back where, they won the miracle game last week after Walsh couldn't nail the field goal, son of a bitch. But, again, now Carolina, they do have Josh Norman, top-rated cornerback in the game. Will he shadow Doug Baldwin? Of course, they're not going to release this information prior to the game. Odds are they probably will. So,
absolutely.
To me, that makes Lockett and Curse the top options. But Russell Wilson is my favorite quarterback. Do not get that twisted. He, especially with everything that I see with the game flow and how this line goes, it's got to be Russ.
Well, we'll see. I think it's a great play because I think this is the type of game that you're going to have your unorthodox type of plays. And who else besides Russell Wilson and Cam Newton to lead you in those unorthodox plays. You mentioned, quarterbacks that are able to extend the play with their legs and they're able to get stuff done. It's a huge benefit, on DraftKings with that 2-point, margin. 4 touchdowns for the pass touchdown, or 4 points for the pass touchdown, 6 points for the run touchdown, and both these quarterbacks can get it done.
Don't forget the rushing yards too.
Right, absolutely, and
the
rushing yards for sure. You factor that in as well. Here's the thing with Russell Wilson. What do they like to do the most? It's not only the read option, but who else is coming back? Mr. Marshawn Lynch. So you're going to have a hungry, aggressive defense that is going to, pretty much be off balance and off rhythm because they're going to be keyed on Marshawn Lynch. Of course, they're going to be. They're going to be thinking all week long. He's got fresh legs. He's got fresh legs. Kuechly's going to have a lot of assignments based off of this guy. And when you start to key on one person, Russell Wilson can burn you around the end. So I don't know if the Carolina Panthers are going to be able to play their game, so to speak, on defense. I think you're going to be seeing them reacting a lot to what the Seattle offense is going to do, rather than attack and force the offense to react to them like they're accustomed to doing.
I know this is going to sound like really stupid, and people be like, how the hell they give this guy a show if he says something like this? But it's like, I wish, once you see a couple plays of the game, you can be like, all right, I'd like to switch to this, or see, like, whoever Josh Norman isn't on. So I in my mind, I see Lockett being the guy that's able to break a couple pass plays deep. But if Norman goes to him, then shit. You know what I mean? Like, I think Norman could, kind of be all over the field against different receivers in this one. I don't think he's going to necessarily be on one receiver the entire time.
I think you'll probably see Norman get Baldwin the percent of the time, and they'll bracket Lockett. They'll probably bracket Lockett in the slot, and then have a safety over the top of him. Curse, he'll draw one-on-one coverage. That could be a decent play depending on who's on the other side. Normally, I mean, Carolina just plays defense all around. So we'll see, man. It depends on how much time, how that front four can get busy after Russell Wilson will dictate how good Josh Norman's gonna.
Right. Now, I'm looking at my favorite projections in the land right now.
Nobody, I'm sorry to cut you off, but nobody can cover somebody for 4 seconds. Nobody.
All right, yeah. Not in this era. I'm looking at my favorite projections, our favorite projections of all time, and they have Cam Newton listed as the top quarterback with 24 points on DraftKings, Russell Wilson with 16. Now, that's all good and dandy. I don't think that is accurate. Especially given the game flow and how everything's going to work out. I know like Kirk Cousins was a top dollar per point guy last week. Our favorite projections, of course, Daily Fantasy Boot Camp, great projections there, NBA and NFL. So again, I guess it makes sense because in the case last week, now Cousins was able to pass more, got a couple more yards since they were down. So if the line is telling us that Seattle's going to win this game, then Cam Newton will have more opportunities to pass, but I just don't like the way that it's going to turn out that way.
Well, this is it too, man. Where's the vulnerability of this Seattle defense? It's
tight end.
It's deep. You beat them deep. If that's where you're going to beat them, you beat them deep. Bridgewater couldn't do that last week because of weather conditions and the fact that he just doesn't have the poise that Cam Newton probably possesses. Cam Newton's going to sit back there, and he's going to be able to survey the field. And sure, it's a fast defense, absolutely, but they'll be able to beat Seattle deep, and that's the only way that you're going to be able to put points on the board. That being said, I can see how Cam Newton's factored at 24, especially once you get around the goal line, man, with that bend but don't break defense for the Seattle. Seattle Seahawks. You mentioned it yourself. As soon as he gets down the goal line, he lays out and does Superman. So, Cam Newton's going to be running the show. So, whether it's going to be throwing the deep bomb to Ginn or Funches, or stretching out across the goal line, I definitely see Cam Newton having the better day over Russell Wilson. I just think what makes Russell Wilson so much more of a versatile play is that he plays backyard football better than no one else does, and that's just the type of game that I'm envisioning out of this divisional playoff.
And I get that. Newton, and here's the beautiful thing about the playoffs is that salary cap really isn't an issue. It's not at all. You can basically do whatever you want on these playoff weeks. So, I shouldn't say that. Last week I wanted to play Antonio Brown, AJ Green. I couldn't fit it in, but for the most part, you can pretty much do what you want. Sweet, what do you got here from this game?
Well, we kind of just brushed over him. I think the biggest play from this game and the lock at tight end is Greg third leg Olsen for sure because fantasy-wise, Seattle cannot stop the tight end. They are 20th for giving up fantasy points to the tight end. I think that, with the secondary that Seattle has, we're definitely going to see a lot of Greg Olsen in this game. Richard Sherman's still pretty good. The receivers for Carolina aren't that great. I do like Jonathan Stewart if he plays in this game, just because I think they're going to have to try to get something going, dump down some passes.
You'll probably see Chancellor on Olsen, you think?
Yeah, it's possible, yeah. But, I mean, they got killed by him up in Seattle on that game-winning touchdown. They just don't stop the tight end. So I'm not worried about that at all. I think Olsen's a great play for this one. And actually, I think this might surprise you guys, but I think the defense I'm rolling out is Carolina in this one. I actually don't think this is going to be quite the game Al does. I think that it's a changing of the guard. Little brother got beat around a good bit, and they went up to Seattle, beat him this year. I think Cam is just oozing confidence. We know that. I think these guys are going to get it done at home. I think everyone is just, the Seattle is going to upset Carolina. It's such a great story. Everyone can call it. Everyone can say, "Oh yeah, man, I know Seattle's going to win. They went to the last 2 Super Bowls." It's a real sexy thing to say, especially if you don't really watch football. Not saying you gentlemen, of course, but
what the hell, man? I watch football all the time.
No, I'm talking about people at the office. The chick that wears a jersey on a football Friday, but knows 4 people on the damn team, still wears a Chris Cooley jersey.
And then she gets
those type of people.
By the guy at happy hour.
Exactly, you got it, buddy. So, yeah, I don't know. I just got a feeling about this one. I really like. I think that as good as the Panthers have been all year, I feel like they still aren't really getting the credit for how good they've been.
Well, look, I think one thing that we're totally dismissing is remember how good Russell Wilson was down the stretch. I mean, granted, last week, the weather conditions really didn't allow him to do what he has to do. But I mean, look, Russell Wilson, how many games has he had this year where he just lulls you to sleep for a couple quarters, and then all of a sudden it's just like boom, 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 all the way down the field.
I mean, Al, don't get me wrong. I fully expect, and there's a strong possibility that around August of next year, I'm turning on NFL Network America's Game, and they're showing Russell Wilson almost drop the ball and then throw the strike to lock it for the first down, and then show Blair Walsh's kick while Russell's just saying, I mean, we're gonna lose that game, but Jesus, he just told me, no, y'all are winning this one.
I'm telling you, hey, they got Narrative Street on their side. I really haven't even brought that into account too much.
No, you haven't.
But yeah, I mean that does make sense. Jesus. Yeah, I know Seattle did have that stinker at home against St. Louis. Look, St. Louis is a good defense, They were just trying to show the LA people something, I guess, Yeah,
but that's funny, people forget that too. They say, man, this team is so hot. Same with the Steelers. The Steelers and the Seahawks are so hot going into the playoffs. The Steelers lost to Ryan Mallett and the Ravens a week before the end of the season. And Russell Wilson, they basically got killed at home to a Rams team that's like the only team they can beat.
But I mean, look what they did. Look what they did in Arizona that next week. So, but no, you're right. I mean, they did have their stumbles, as
against the Vanilla Sky defense in Arizona. Yeah, I know.
Oh shit, man, I'm an idiot.
That was vanilla, man. I don't think they did anything.
In my article today, I wrote something about this Warriors-Lakers game about being at Staples Center. Whoops! It's in Golden State. That's all right. Not a big deal. It's just a WordPress blog. Only 200 people read it a day. Whatever. All right. Let us get to some score predictions. I love Now, actually, hold up. Let's not do that yet because, again, I do think this is the most important game of the entire week. The whole changing of the guard is sweet set. I think that's a very interesting point. But, Wags, I know you talked about this probably endless times throughout the season this year. Does Seattle key on Greg Olson? Like, obviously they're going to, but will that make this harder since he's really their, I don't want to say only target, but their legitimate threat?
I don't think they can key on Greg Olson. I think with Cam Chancellor, I think he can play them man to man, or when they're in zone. I think their defense is obviously fast enough to shift and cover and react to to wherever the ball gets distributed to throughout that zone. I think you'll see a lot of man to man. I think you'll see Chancellor on Olsen. I think Bobby Wagner is going to have to shadow Cam Newton, or you might even see a trade-off. You might even see, Wagner take on sometimes, or I'm sorry, take Greg Olsen on some days or some plays, and then Chancellor, taking Cam Newton if he comes out of the backfield on others. I think it's going to be the other way around. I think you'll see mainly Bobby Wagner shadowing Cam Newton mainly. But, you guys also mentioned Jonathan Stewart. Jonathan Stewart's a dominant back, and, this Carolina defense this Carolina offense runs the ball well. I just think that Seattle, the only other team that's as fast as this team that's in the NFC is the team that they're playing, and, that Carolina defense, they're all fast. So I just think this is where you're going to see Cam Newton not be able to break down the defenses so much on the ground like you were used to seeing him do because of the versatile speed of the team defense.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch this game. I just think this is going to be one of these once in a lifetime type opportunities to see. Now we have the NFC team that's been dominating for so many years, and then the team that almost went undefeated here. I mean, Clash of the Titans is an understatement. This is going to be an incredible game on Sunday, and obviously, Vegas thinks so as well. By the way, Andrew Bogut killing it here early in Golden State. I know. January NBA. Who gives a shit, right?
I actually, I'm all about saying that a couple of teams, these are the best two the best two teams in a conference or whatnot. However, I also just think that some teams they could be the 10th best team in the conference, but they just match up to a certain team particularly well. I think this is what you see. This is a classic example in the Seattle at Carolina matchup.
Yeah. I'm stoked. Let's get to some predictions.
You want me to roll it off?
Go ahead, brother. Roll it off.
Henderson it for the crew.
I'm going to go Carolina 27, Seattle 21.
All right.
Me.
Right on, man. I got 26. I'm sorry. I got 26-17 Carolina.
All right, so I guess I got to be the Seattle homer here. Seattle, I'm going to do it 27-24 in this one. Last second Hauschka from 50 out.
We're expecting this to be the best game of the weekend, I take it, fellas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the one
How
where
is this not Saturday night? That's what I want to know.
This is the one where you sit your ass down. Well, I'll tell you why, because Green Bay is they're the top draw in this whole playoff. So
their fans might be turning the game off by 9 o'clock.
And then Pittsburgh, Denver, they're they did the ratings on Colin's show this week, and the Packers Redskins game, which was the last playoff game, was by far like the highest rated playoff game out of all of them. Actually, both the Sunday games were, so they know what they're doing, I guess. All right.
Hey, one thing quick out of that. I think for that last game, if you're going to pay up for a running back, also Marshawn Lynch is a laughable price at $6,400. Go ahead and take a stab at that too. He's the best running back out there on the slate besides David Johnson.
Are they really just going to throw him back in though after he took himself out?
I think so, man.
Yeah, that's weird.
Look for updates. Check back in with
Definitely.
us, especially on Saturday mornings. But I mean, just check it out.
Make sure Marshawn Lynch is in Charlotte.
Right. Make sure he travels.
That was pretty much. Nah, I'm just gonna hang back here and smoke some shit. Yeah, we good.
Nah, I'm good.
Cold out there, boss.
I'm good, boss. Yeah, I'm good, boss.
This shit's legal out here, boss. We good. All right. Last game of the week. Probably the second biggest ass kicking that can take place this week. The Steelers at the Denver Broncos. Now, currently on pregame.com, there is no line, but I do know that it did start out at 68 this week. I'm sorry, 68. Wow, that'd be a real ass kicking. Denver was favored by 6, and the total on this game was at 40. Very interesting to see that sort of thing. So obviously, that makes me think that the Denver defense is the play of the week to go with here. Any thoughts from you guys here?
I mean, let's go back almost a month ago to what Antonio Brown did to this so-called best defense in the NFL. He just made him look like a JV team on for the Sisters of the Weak and Unscrupulous. However, I don't know if
whoa, what?
Sisters of the Weak and Unscrupulous.
Where is that? In Scottsdale, Arizona? Where is that school?
No, it's actually out there in Tawnytown. We'll call it Tawnytown, Maryland, or whatever. No, I don't know where the hell.
Wait. You guys say scrupulous?
Unscrupulous.
I don't know. I don't even have a thesaurus on hand.
You don't have your scruples?
I don't.
Scrupulous. Unscrupulous.
That just sounds dirty.
No, man. All right. Anyways.
Is Mother Mary giving me that look right now?
Who's Mother Mary?
Jesus' mom.
No, I don't know.
God's girl.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know if we're going to see the same game that we saw almost a month ago. I don't know how much Ben Roethlisberger is going to be able to throw the ball. And on the same other side of the field, Peyton Manning's getting some HGH and cortisone injections himself too. So, both of these quarterbacks are beat up. You got Pittsburgh's defense that is a daunting 266 yards per game through the air. That does speak well for Peyton Manning. However, I just don't think he's going to be able to get into his All-Star or his Pro Bowl array of wide receivers.
I got to bring something up because this is pretty interesting. On the projection sheet, DFS or Daily Fantasy Boot Camp, they have Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas as the top 2 receivers on the entire slate. They have listed Emmanuel Sanders at 25, and they have Demaryius Thomas listed at 23. Now, all these projections are like scary good. So, are you gonna play both? Like,
how
in a game that has a total of 40? I don't know. But and also on that same case, does that make Peyton Manning more attractive, even with the noodle arm?
Here's the thing.
I don't know. Go ahead, Chris.
If both of those guys are going to do that, then wouldn't Peyton Manning be the obvious choice here? I mean,
right.
I don't think he's going to do that. But I mean, that's 50 points through the air.
Right.
That's at least 25 for Peyton Manning. I mean, but here's the thing. I really. Earlier in the week, I think I even told you, Al, I was like, I think I'm going to roll Peyton Manning this week. There's just something about me that wants to play Peyton Manning. I think it is because, the Steelers' defense is very vulnerable through the air. I don't think this is going to be a particularly competitive game. But then I sit back and I think, what about the Peyton Manning that we watched all season? This dude is throwing like 2 and 3 picks, and they're winning because of their defense only. So, I mean, it's hard to do, but there's one theory I hear about a lot on SiriusXM Fantasy. They talk about having exposure to receivers by taking the quarterback and not the receiver. So, if you did want both of those guys, take Peyton Manning,
Right.
And if they don't do anything, well, you probably weren't going to win anyways. So.
And it's the late night hammer, that you have the last game of the whole week, but. I mean, that is look. I'm so nervous to go with Peyton Manning. I mean, Denver.
Yeah, you have to be.
they're a tremendous blitzing team. So I guess what this tells me is that they're going to go with a lot of short passes. That could certainly work, I think. But
Well, that being said, did we finally see, with all this time off, did we finally see Vernon Davis get implemented into the the offense here?
doubtful because he owns a Jamba Juice and he loves art. But
Yeah,
those are my theories on the guy. But I don't know. The thing that just scares the crap out of me is that the total on this game is at 40. Now, I'm wondering, Roethlisberger, I guess he's going to play in this game. Now, you just have to wonder how effective he's going to be. I mean, he did take a massive shot from that goon Burfict. But
yeah, he would need more than just cortisone, I think, to make his arm be able to throw the balls you want him to throw.
But I don't know, man. Like, I've been living and dying by these projections the last couple of weeks, and they've been very good. But it's weird, where you have, both of these Denver receivers so high, and Peyton Manning is not. It's funny because they actually have Brock Osweiler as the starter on there, but just something's not adding up there. The way that I envision this, then, because the thing that I do is I take a look at the projections and I say, all right, how can this all happen?
Oh man, I figured it out.
For me, I think it's just a ton of short passes, and I guess that with the Steelers defense that blitzes a ton of times, like a ton of PPR receptions, but would that be their offense all day?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't see Denver running the ball on Pittsburgh.
Right. They're very good against running backs.
Right. I mean, I think they allow. I don't have the number. I think it's just under 100 at like 90. It's like 98 yards or something like that per game.
But if you want to go with the defensive ranks in the fantasy, I believe they're second against the running back position. They are. They are. So, sweet. You looked like you were about to bring up a good point where you said, I know what they're going to do.
Well, yeah, you were trying to figure out how they each get 25 points and Peyton Manning doesn't do anything.
Right.
A whole bunch of wide receiver option passes, right? They're just going to pass it to each other all game.
Yeah,
that's not a bad idea. They might. Could you imagine if they both pulled it off to each other? Yeah. That'd be amazing.
They each got a long bomb from each other. Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the running game because I actually do like a Denver running back in this one. I understand. I agree with you guys. Pittsburgh is very tough against the run, but I think if this is a 40 over-under type game, I think that Denver is going to run the ball a lot, which would take it away from all that mumbo-jumbo about Peyton Manning and the two receivers. But C.J. Anderson's only 3,700, and that's really cheap, even if he doesn't do, even if he doesn't get 100 yards. If he happens to get a touchdown, I mean, I think you're pretty much golden there at 3,700, are you not? I mean,
yeah.
He had 97 yards and a touchdown in the last week of the season against the Chargers' terrible D, but let's not forget it. Let's not think about that. I understand, but I mean, 3,700 for a guy the quality that he's clearly not what he was at the end of last year, but he has been become a little more efficient here in the last couple weeks of the season for C.J. Anderson.
Yeah, he had some pretty nice. Obviously, the Sunday night game against Denver and then against San Diego. On the third review, or it wasn't even a review, he finally got it out. But yeah, that would make sense. Now, last week I completely whiffed. I didn't have him in my lineup, but I did say all week that I love Gio Bernard because of the way that Pittsburgh blitzes. They would probably give up a lot of running back passes. That was not the case. Now, that had nothing to do with him getting knocked the fuck out, but that was just it didn't work out in the game. I mean, it was a total mess with the rain. I guess you can attribute that to a lot of different things as well, but I mean, if you want to go on that again too, then Ronnie Hillman might be the way to go. But you're right. I do think having a Denver running back would not be a bad idea at all. Whether that's C.J. Anderson or Ronnie Hillman, that's the Russian roulette game that you have to play with this running back, the Denver running back situation. On the flip side of the ball, Madame Toussaint. I mean, if they're going to be down and Landry Jones ends up coming in at quarterback, he's going to catch a ton of passes. I will have the Denver defense across the board. last week I kind of just put my eggs all in one basket, and it fucking worked out for once in my life.
You made an omelet with that shit.
Oh hell yeah, yo!
Dude, that was the call of calls, brother.
But
that was the biggest differentiator, right?
Absolutely. If you had Kansas City defense last week in the contest that I was in,
you cashing.
Now it was 1,500 people, and 25% of the people had Kansas City defense. So that meant that I guess just over 400 people had Kansas City. If my math is wrong and math people are watching, don't you dare get on me. This is live radio right here. But yeah, I mean that just meant and 300 people cashed in that contest last week. So if you had the KC defense, you basically cashed, and everything else went well for you. Or if you didn't have AJ McCarron at quarterback. But yeah, I mean, defense does play such a huge deal in these short 4-game slates. I mean, you really cannot have one mistake in your entire lineup.
No.
So that's why a guy like David Johnson's so important. Having a quarterback like a Palmer, a Russell Wilson, or a Cam, I think those are the three that you would at least feel safe with. I think everybody else is incredibly risky. But again, this Denver running back situation, there's no solidity to it. You don't know where the production's coming from. And especially the fact that, Denver or Pittsburgh's defense is really good at running back as is already. It's a scary situation. So, I don't know. I mean, for me, the way that it looks here on a Thursday night, it's probably going to be a David Johnson and a James White sort of thing, and then, just stack up somewhere at receiver or something like that.
Probably smart.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's actually my backfield is James White and David Brown. So
it's not a bad backfield.
All right. Anything else on this game before we get to predictions and get the fuck out of here for the evening?
Nah, brother. I think we basically broke that shit down.
All right. What you guys got?
Well, it's going to be one of those games. It's going to be a really ugly game. I think it's going to be 24-20. 24-20 Pittsburgh.
That's interesting. That is an interesting play. Shit, man, because again, I don't think that this is going to be like the ass kicking that everybody thinks. Like, I think it's going to be somewhat close for a while, but then at the end, I think Denver will finally pull away with it. So. I'm going to say 20-10 Denver.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I'm right around there. I'm going to say...
You can say 20-10 too.
I'm going to say 19-13 Denver.
All right, right on that.
Real gross, ugly game.
And it's going to be...
Anytime you get 9s and 3s in there. Ugh.
All right, I take it. All right, so this will not be the final show. We still have fantasy relevance for the conference championship, so we will be back with you for that. And then, let us know on Twitter. I'm there, Al Walsh DFS, the Wagner Wire, the Chris Sweet, Big 3 DFS. We're there too. Let us know. Let us know what kind of shows you want. You want some NBA? You want some NHL? MLB? We will be definitely doing MLB.
Definitely doing MLB.
That is our thing. That's how we met up.
Absolutely. I'll be producing some NHL articles coming up in the following weeks here. My NFL roster or my divisional breakdown will be coming out tomorrow. So some good things coming before the weekend starts to kick off for that fantasy football. But yeah, definitely, man. I want to do an NHL show with you guys, man. I think we would have a lot of fun, especially going over lines and whatnot. I've had some tremendous success playing NHL this year, so I'd like to keep it rolling.
I have no idea what's going on in hockey right now, so all my hockey friends would be like,
"We should get a season-long league too, man."
I can tell you one thing that's going on.
The Caps.
The CAPS Caps are killing it, baby.
They are.
Ovi's got like 500 goals this season.
Did they win tonight, the Caps?
What's that?
They were up 2-0.
They were up 2-0 last time I checked.
Yeah, because I guess they haven't lost at home. I saw on the
breakout year for
bottom
Kuznetsov.
They hadn't lost since like November 19th.
Kuzi, baby.
Kuzi, baby. Yevgeny Kuznetsov.
Yeah.
We love Kuzis on the show. Syracuse and Kuznetsov.
This is so sad to say, but how are my Tampa Bay Lightning doing? Because I'm all NBA all the time. Like,
I'm sure they're good.
The team in Florida right now is actually Florida, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Bobby Lou, Robert Luongo is just Luongo is
Roberto
Luongo.
I gotta tell you, I cannot wait for baseball because I had such a great run all the way up until football started. Because then I started looking into like college. I tried college football for a couple months. I had a couple good weeks, but I lost pretty heavy there at the end, and I was like, forget these college kids. Like, why am I placing my money on teenagers? Like, get the hell out of here. But yeah, I'm very excited for baseball. I cannot wait for that to happen. Philly's got the #1 draft pick this year. It's gonna be good. That's another thing. I think me and Sweet were talking the other day, and I gave him a video of that the Yanks O's fight where Benitez freaking Chino in the back, and then somehow off of that I wound up on Phillies 08 playoffs highlights. Oh my god, dude, my day was ruined. I was like, Victorino! Like
Nothing got done.
I just realized like how good it was, and now it's just like, oh my god, you gotta be fucking kidding me! Like this is the worst.
Nothing got done for Al Walsh that day.
And you guys went the next year too, right? For the Yankees.
Yeah, they did.
Damn Yankees. We went to the World, and then I'm living in Bayonne where it's like 75% Yankees fans. So
right.
I actually got into a fight the night of Game 3. Some kid, I was wearing it was a terrible idea for me to be wearing my Phillies jersey in Hoboken that night.
Yeah.
And it was Halloween night, so we went to this like really fancy club too, and I don't know, whatever. We just got like outrageously bombed, and then some kid on the street just said to me, "Hey, you suck, you pussy, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Fuck you, you ain't gonna do shit." So then I guess he like walked around the block. I don't know what he did. Up. So like I hear like footsteps running from behind me, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then like I like can't and the dude just freaking decked me like right in the face, and I was like, oh man.
Oh, that's interesting.
So we started brawling out in front of a freaking CVS, and then I took the guy's head and I was mashing it all up against the side of this like red 4-door. So
nice.
It was a good night. I wound up with like a massive hole in my lip, but. Hey, it's the World Series, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, man, fancy clubs scream Shane Victorino jerseys, so I understand why you're wearing that.
I still rock the home Victorino jersey with the blood stains on the back. It's a battle scar.
Nice.
I'll never get another
Flying
Phillies jersey. I mean, I have the road jersey with the Harry Callis patch, but I'll never get another Phillies. I'll never get another Phillies jersey. Never.
Can't do it, man. Can't do it, dude. Victorino was amazing.
You don't wear the Victorino jersey in Hoboken, man. His name was probably Sal.
The only thing that I think was whack about Shane Victorino is that he wore the dual flaps on his helmet. Other than that, he was a tremendous human being. The Flying Hawaiian, baby.
The Flying Hawaiian, yes, sir.
Screw him for not wanting a concussion.
Yeah, when he hit that the grand slam off of CC. And the year they won the World, that was it. There was no stopping the Phils that year. So. Oh yeah. Man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in this evening. We are done. No show this weekend, so just keep in tune with us on Twitter, Facebook, all that other stuff. It'll probably be Wednesday or Thursday of next week. If not, we'll come back with a Sunday show. Maybe even do a conference championship show. I don't know if I have enough time.
Yeah, Home Depot. Maybe get some wallpaper. You never know.
Never know. All right, ladies.
Maybe it's lace. Maybe it's something I don't even know about.
Basic cotton wet here. All right. Also, if you're on NBA 2K16 PS4, it's Walsh 75. So hit me up on there. You get some pro-am going.
Listen to this dude. He ain't gonna get any writing done.
That marketing. All right, we'll be out of here. See you later.
Later.
Deuces.